Greetings fellow Tarnished. Are you having trouble with Malenia? Terrified to use summoning in order to beat this wench? Then allow me to assist you in beating this demigod into the dirt by use of melee. I will show you what I am using primarily to beat Malenia in the way of equipment and talismans. To start off, we have a maxed out Blood Uchigatana, as well as a maxed out Rivers of Blood. Bleed works really well with taking her health down. I chose to wear the jar, because yes. Next up, Radagon's Sourceal because big attributes, Claw Talisman for jump attack increase, Winged Sword Insignia because more damage with successive strikes, and finally, Blue Dancer Charm for higher attack power with less equip load. Combine all these equipment together, and you have a fairly decent fighting bleed machine ready to go, but first, let's look at our stats. As you can see, I parked myself just above level 120, this is the optimal level you should be fighting her at with a fairly decent chance, but it can be done at lower levels. I have 45 Vigor, 16 Mind, 35 Endurance, 38 Strength, 49 Dexterity, and 20 Arcane. The 20 Arcane I have is the prerequisite to fully be able to use the River of Blood, but we won't be using any of its abilities. Now then, let's go kill this harlot. And before you start saying, ew, oh my god, Rivers of Blood being used, cringe. Ha ha ha.
Shut your whore mouth up.
Okay, right out of the gate, on your very first fight, she will lunge at you and you need to roll away and create some distance. Notice the distance I'm keeping from her at all times throughout this fight. Very quickly you'll notice she stops briefly here, and I get a jump attack off and a little follow through hit. Pay attention to her hand whenever she does this sequence, it will tell you if she means to stop briefly. Right here, you'll see her jump into the air like so, and her hand will spark with her sword upwards. When you see this, be ready to roll backwards when she touches the ground, which then you can follow up with a strike if you're quick. Here's the sequence I was talking about a second ago. Notice how her hand didn't act slow like the first time. This means she is going to follow up with another attack, so instead I keep my distance, in which she follows up with another lunge. There it is, boom, there's that bleed paying off. Just keep in mind, since this is a summon boss fight, her health is about roughly double the normal amount if I remember correctly. So about at this gauge of health, she will begin busting out the waterfowl dance. I cheekily go in for a jump attack, and manage to get a hit off, but I realize I'm seconds away from becoming Pepperoni, so what do I do in this situation? What I do, is I try to get close as I can and roll off to her left, making her go past me, then roll away further back to avoid her second flurry lunge, and just as she's about to land the final one, I roll into her and back away from her to evade it. Now we keep our distance, and wait for her to give us openings, and the rest is fairly simple in phase 1. This is what happens if you goof up the timing when she does that long-range lunge. This is why we get a good amount of vigor, or we'd have just been one-shotted. Also note, whenever you see her keeping her own distance from you, feel free to carefully press the assault, or to take a moment to heal before going back in. Now we use the knowledge we've learned to coast onto phase 2. You'll see me goof some stuff up, and take damage here and there, but rest assured, I will have killed this would-be demigod by the end of this fight. If you've gotten this far, congratulations. This means your hard work is paying off, but now comes the real challenge. Phase 2 Malenia. Before we jump into it, here are a few brief notes of Phase 2. Number 1, she will incorporate some Scarlet Rot abilities into her attacks, so be wary of getting hit. Number 2, she will slightly change up her moveset as opposed to Phase 1. Number 3, patience, especially at this stage, is key. And lastly, she will do a specific move where she will cast down images of herself taking a swing at you before she herself thrusts towards you. I will describe what to do, to the best of my ability in these situations. Now that this red scabby booger has gained the ability of having wings and butterflies, we must be on our guard, cause honey, she don't mess around when she says.
You will witness true horror.
So now that she's up in the air, she will start off phase 2 by doing a dive attack, followed by an AoE, where she lands after a few seconds. Feel free during this time, if you successfully rolled past her dive, to get your health up, or apply any buffs. I quickly notice that she's non-responsive due to the multiplayer host's latency, and I immediately begin to roll back and create as much distance as possible. You'll see why I do so here in a few moments. I just dodged 2 of her most deadliest abilities in her arsenal, almost on top of each other due to the poor connection via host. But if I had just kept swinging, I would have already been dead. You'll notice now each time she pauses with her ground strikes, she creates a pillar of scarlet explosion. This is why I roll back and get a jump attack off before rolling away. Right, that time I got a little greedy, but now she prepares the mirror image attack she does. Here's the strategy for that: run away as far as you can. She will send 4 in total before lunging at you. The first 2 are close range sweepers. Just keep running, and then she'll send out 2 more mirror images. After a few seconds, begin cutting either right or left, and get ready to roll, as the last 2 images will thrust at you just before she does. After lunging at you herself, she'll follow up with a quick strike briefly, so either take your shot and roll away, or keep your distance. Now we incorporate all we've learned, and attack when she presents openings for us, and pay attention to her actions, taking care to try and not be too greedy or impatient. If done consistently and correctly, she will have fallen to your blade, and in doing so, I humbly congratulate you on soloing this would-be demigod wench. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope you like it, and I'll catch you around.